Your face is illegal.
How did you hear about me, Valley Girl? Would you like to come up and have an interview with me? Because I am famous.
Is that true? She's got a lengthy criminal record? Whoa, snap.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't need shit.
Thirst is real. That thirst is real.
If you hit a panel, I learned this the hard way. You fair game.
Yep.
It don't matter if you're a creator or not. If you hit a panel, absolutely fair game.
See, I am completely interrupting. I'm really bad
2
with
years
that.
ago, I was fair freaking game, was I not? Yes. If you go up there to save somebody, you fair game.
Unlike Donkey Kong. Where is Terry Lynn live?
She's going live in 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
She's addressing Sweaty too. Ooh.
Oh, so we're hopping over there.
Oh boy.
Panel hop it? Oh boy.
Yeah, I think they're all addressing Sweaty.
This week on The Real Hagwives of YouTube, these quote-unquote creators are going after each other again. Which should be no shocker, since this is what they do for their content. This show is about middle-aged women who are involved in a bottom feeders drama YouTube where they just fight with each other online like we're middle school. In this episode, the Hagwives have gone wild. They're not only coming for each other, they're also coming for supporters / subscribers, particularly a supporter who was a cash cow named Sweaty. We are going to watch as they throw her under the bus and call her a racist after taking lots of money from her and basically thinking the same way that she does, but they needed to throw somebody under the bus, so they threw her under the bus. Let's take a look, enjoy the show, and hit that like.
Sweaty, you made your bed.
When I was talking to my daughter, I don't even know any racial slurs or Spanish people. I'm like, oh my God, have you ever heard anything like that come out of my mouth? If anything, I'm really ignorant to the person in the room, you know?
Yeah. So that's what happened. That's why I know
me. And, I did not say anything racism.
In case you were wondering, in the Real Hagwives of YouTube world, it is totally normal to do anywhere from 7-hour to 48-hour live streams where you go to the bathroom while live. Flushing the toilet is something you will hear quite frequently. Washing your hands? Not so much.
You guys need to be careful. Mod chats are not safe.
No, they're not.
All I want to say to Danny, I love you for you. It didn't matter to me what color you were. I did not ask what color your grandchild was before I helped you buy that snowsuit. It did not matter. It does not matter to me and never will. And shame on you for saying those hateful things about me.
Terry cutting out again.
You too, Terry Lynn. Shame on you.
That is Sweaty, the former subscriber and bestie of Hags Jules, Mim Soupalhead, and Terry Tragic Lynn, speaking about Terry Lynn, former defender and paid hag to John Yates. As you can see, this was a comment in one of John Yates' chats when he was quote-unquote apologizing, because he wasn't really apologizing, for using the N-word. And it looks like Terry Lynn, the former paid hag, as you can see by the little hag icon next to her name, was riding for the racist. Now, Terry Lynn, who was friends with racists and supported racists and paid racists after they said racist things, is now calling Sweaty a racist.
That's my opinion!
And I hope every time you're hungry and you need something, you think, man, I should have been a little nicer to Sweaty.
Little backstory on Sweaty, who you've heard speaking to Amber of the Amber channel. She is a supporter of lots of hags. That is, women who support or formerly supported John Yates and his racism and misogyny through money and defending him on the interwebs and attacking other people to quote-unquote protect him. Sweaty seemed to pop up on a lot of these different hag channels, and she was dropping fat super chats. So these women were like, hey Sweaty, you want to come up? Sure, Sweaty. Sweaty admitted on Terry Tragic Lynn's channel, the woman who supported John Yates after he said the N-word and paid to be a member of that racist channel, went up on Terry Lynn's channel, and she said she was lonely. She also said she had a disease that rhymes with the letter C. And all of the hags, Jules and Supple Head and Tragic Lynn, were giving her words of encouragement and telling their chat to think of her, pray for her. And now, since they don't like her and they've thrown her under the bus and claimed she is a racist, now they're saying she doesn't have the big C, she faked it. Will we ever know how they know she faked it? No. Did they provide any receipts or proof that she's faking the big C? No. Will they tell us how long they've known she's been faking the big C? No. That's not what they do. They just throw out accusations after accusations to deflect from the fact that they somehow messed up. But Sweaty was a big-time donor to these ladies. Sweaty admitted on the Amber channel that Terry Lynn, according to Sweaty, was counting change while talking to her one day and was afraid she wasn't going to be able to eat or get groceries. Where have we heard that before? That sounds like something John Yates, the e-beggar and grifter, has done, and the sad fisher. These women sure learned from their favorite friend.
One of my lifelong friends that I've had since I've been 13 years old, got hit with, out of nowhere, a stroke, a brain aneurysm, a collapsed lung, and pneumonia.
After going live and exploiting his friend's alleged, all those sicknesses, celebrity smoker John Yates never spoke of her again after receiving sympathy and money from his subscribers via Super Chat, Cash App, and all the other ways in which he is able to e-beg, sadfish, and grift these ladies. Hopefully you're well, John Yates' friend. So Sweaty was giving Tragic Terry Lynn money because she couldn't afford a sandwich, according to Sweaty. And now, after the thousands of dollars Sweaty gave these women, not only to eat, but to go on a Las Vegas trip together, they are claiming she's a racist.
You want to tell them how much you spent?
Altogether, it's $3,000.
I do not need you to tell me that I am uneducated and illiterate.
Altogether, it's $3,000.
And now you're racist.
That's including the $1,000 for the Vegas. I know, I'm an idiot.
But now you're racist, right? Now you're racist.
Yeah, now I'm racist. I don't understand.
$3,000 and now you're racist.
I never said a racist hate.
Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
But thank you guys for listening. I am no longer a part of that community.
You have received the most votes and have been banished from the game.
That's right, the real Hagwives of YouTube have kicked Sweaty out of the cult. Group, off of their channels. They took her over $3,000 allegedly and said, beat it, racist. Why is she a racist? Well, they don't really tell us. We'll find out a little bit later their reasoning, but until then, listen to two of the recipients of Sweaty's money for the Vegas trip and for groceries, allegedly, talk about how much money they received, how they feel about the money they received, and a little insight to how they feel about Sweaty. The Hagwives of YouTube treat their friendships like an episode of The Traitors on Paramount Plus, which you should watch because it's a good damn show.
Just like, here's the thing, like I said, I can tell you exactly what you sent me with no shame.
Yep, she was proud when she
and like I said, and you did these things, and then at the end of the night, so I didn't call you begging ever. Begging, never. Like I said, I asked you for $12 once, you sent $100. That's you.
Dang, who sent that to you?
Oh no, that's a Cash App that Sweaty, who just left my channel, who's now being called a racist. Oh, shit. And it says, for her Vegas bound. She paid, but she's a racist, but she paid for a black woman's trip to Vegas.
And Danny was in tears because, you know what? No one had ever done something like that for her that she didn't know. And she said her dad, pay it forward. That's, and never knew that it was, excuse me if this is not a proper term, that it would be Indian.
No, that's most certainly not the term you should use, Tragic Terry Lynn. Educate yourself.
As I was taught as a little girl.
Well, damn, Terry Lynn, it's been a long time since you were a little girl. You'd think you would update your vocabulary on that one. Ooh.
Maybe that's not the proper term, but that's what it seems like, because you're going back and throwing it in somebody's face. If I do something for you, let me say this. You're not going to hear me. I did this and I did that and this for you. No, that's weird.
You guys can all get fucked.
Listening to these women, it's silly for one of them to call another one a racist because they're all very racially insensitive and bigoted, and they just keep proving that over and over on the YouTube live streams. And now we're going to hear her basically be one of those white ladies who says, I don't see color.
No, Danny heard my daughter yesterday. She certainly did, because I said, I'm going to see if she knows anything about this, and she's 19 years old. She said, what did she, I forget exactly what she said. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, you don't know what the Ku Klux Klan is? She said, no. I said, Danny said, a hood with a robe. And she said, no. Why are you talking about that? What does it mean? I thought, forget it. But maybe I raised her ignorant. I don't know. And I don't care. But what I did do was this.
It's the ignorance for me. It's just the pure...
I didn't want my children to see color.
First things first, Tragic Lynn, before you go around pointing racist fingers at other white women, you should point the finger at yourself for your own willful ignorance. Saying that you don't see color is one of the dumbest things you could possibly say. Does that mean when you go get your hair colored, which it looks like you do, blonde or highlights, they say, what color would you like? You go, I don't know. I don't see color. When you pick out outfits, do you not see color? Do you not see color when you look at the sun, the trees, anything going on? The world is full of color. And when you don't see color, you actually aren't seeing the experiences of your friends of color. You're actually not seeing your friends of color at all, and you are erasing their experiences and existence in this world. So maybe you want to think about that before you go pointing the finger on your I don't see color campaign. It's not helping anybody, and it's not true. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, why are these no color seeing white women now turning against another white woman who was their friend and gave them lots and lots of money and saying she's a racist, when they themselves are already out here saying very problematic things and appearing very willfully ignorant? Well, they said that she was proud that her family used to be a member of the KKK. But that's not actually what she said. She was actually on Tragic Lynn's live. They were trying to do a live about DV, and it turned into a live for Blue Lives Matter. Basically, they were all Blue Lives Matter, we back the blue.
All right, so we're going to get back on the topic. Careful, Mike. And I want to hear from your point of view, Kelly, and what you have to say about the system and what you heard.
Okay, so my issue, so I'm never ever gonna Monday morning quarterback somebody else's call, like a medical call, a police call. But what I can say is the bad information that a certain uneducated twit is putting out, saying that police officers aren't educated enough to handle a domestic violence call. That's not true. I'm so sorry.
Greatest respect for officers, and he stopped every single day and checked on us for like a week, and I don't know if he hadn't been there, what I would have, I guess I would have grabbed onto somebody, but that was very traumatic, and he was extremely caring and empathetic to our family, and anything that we needed after that, anything. And I know if I saw him tomorrow, he would remember me. And that means
and I've lived in a county. I'm going to tell you, I've lived in a county where, listen, 25 minutes may go by, you're not going to get an officer. 30 minutes may go by, you're not getting one. Hell, 45 minutes, you're still not going to have an officer there. And that's just a fact. I've seen some small counties that have jacked system. But I will say there are good and bad in every profession. There are, there really are.
Oh no, not the good apple and bad apple police officer excuse. Oh, Tragic Lynn, no.
But here's the thing, man. Whenever the cops gun down an innocent black man, they always say the same things. They always say the same thing. It's like, well, it's not most cops. It's just a few bad apples. It's just a few bad apples. Bad apple. That's a lovely name for murderer. It's like, how'd they get that one? Bad apple. That almost sounds nice. I mean, I've had a bad apple. It was tart, but it didn't choke me out. Here's the thing. I know it's hard being a cop. I know it's hard. I know that shit's dangerous. I know it is, okay? But some jobs can't have bad apples, okay? Some jobs, everybody gotta be good. Like pilots. You know? American Airlines can't be like, most of our pilots like to land. We just got a few bad apples that like to crash in the mountains.
But
yeah, there's good and bad in
state
every
as fact. Don't state things as fact as everywhere. You can't state that as a fact that's everywhere. You cannot do that. You can't do that.
But I can say I am
dangerous.
53. I'm 53 years old, and I've never had a bad run-in with any officer ever. I've always had good experiences. They've always been extremely polite and helpful and have gone out of their way. And I mean, anytime I've ever been in a police officer's presence, though, something traumatic just happened. But they've always been very caring. I mean, I have no qualms whatsoever that my tax dollars go to support these officers. None whatsoever. You'll never hear the words come out of my mouth, my tax dollars, because there's not many of us that have to put our lives into harm's way. Just putting on their badge puts them in danger in some cities. And I live near Detroit.
So I think we can all agree, listening to this clip of Terry Lynn and now Sweaty talking, wow, your privilege is showing, ladies. What a novel idea. White women feel safe with the police? Way to tell us something we didn't already know. So now Sweaty's going to go on about how she lives near Detroit. How near, Sweaty? What's that supposed to prove?
So the police are not exactly seen as an ally in Detroit.
Hello, stop. Hello. Yes.
I mean, yes, there have been situations where police officers have really spoiled it for everybody.
All right, spoiled it for everybody? Really, lady? That's what you're going to say? I don't know who this one is on panel with Sweaty and Tragic Terry Lynn, but that is not what you want to say, okay? If you ladies are this ill-equipped to talk about the subject, don't talk about the damn subject. You're acting like someone peed in the pool before you went in or took a dump in your bubble bath.
But for the most part, police officers are good people serving their community for very little money. They don't make enough money to risk their life day in and day out, but they do it. They put that badge on every single day and they work. They work for us.
Absolutely.
Just because a couple bad ones doesn't mean they're all bad. And just this bad information just,
That's right, lady. The police work for us, so it's on us to call this stuff out, not to make excuses for them. I don't know why you're having such a problem pointing out what's an actual fact in the United States of America. Americans are getting murdered by the police. Black Americans are getting murdered by the police. There is a problem within the system, and it needs to change. Why you want to talk about anything else, I'll never know. Oh, wait, I know. So then this other panel member, who I don't know what the hell her name is, all she is a car in her avatar. She goes on to talk about DV and whether the police are equipped to handle DV calls. And let me just tell you, she says yes, but statistics would say no. It's not actually working involving the police in a lot of these situations.
Yeah, there are so many things in place. Our officers do go through training. Is it enough? We don't know.
Actually, we do know. Take a look. Gender-based violence. Some skeptics respond to calls to defund the police with concern for people at high risk for gender-based violence. The fear is that society will not be able to protect people against sexual assault and domestic violence. But as a society, we are currently failing to protect people from gender-based violence. A woman is killed by a partner in Canada every 6 days. In the United States, 4 women are killed by their partners every day. In the U.S., only 20% of all sexual assaults are reported. In Canada, less than 10% of all sexual assaults are reported to police. National statistic bodies do not collect the same data for trans communities, though there is no doubt that trans people are targeted for violence due to transphobia across North America, with Black women comprising the majority of homicide victims. What this information tells us is that police barely interact with cases of gender-based violence and are ineffective at preventing gender-based violence from occurring. By freeing up resources currently allocated to the police, our communities could create new services to prevent gender-based violence if we defund the police.
Yeah, you can't.
We're all
I mean,
thinking
not
the
every
same
officer is the same, and people. Not every officer is going to be a good officer. That's the facts. There is bad in every profession. There is bad, but
There
don't
is.
say
But
that
if you're not
basically
happy-
every freaking one is the same.
Oh
because they're
boy,
not.
here we go
They
again.
put that suit on, and they walk out a door. They're leaving behind a family. That's a family, guys. That they don't know if they're coming home to them.
Tragic Lynn, why are you yelling? Okay, and why aren't you this passionate about the innocent people who are killed by the police? Oh my goodness.
When their shift's over. They don't, because they don't know what their call is going to be. None of us know, because I'm not an officer. Are you an officer? I'm not.
Well, there you have it, you guys. Tragic Lynn just solved the problem with the police in the United States. If you're not an officer, you can't speak on it. Problem solved.
Yeah, I've always said it, and I stand by this. I back the blue. I back the blue, and I've always said that. But there's going to be good and bad in every profession. Hello, Glenn Crack. This is just me saying that I back the blue. There's good and bad, and you're going to find good and bad in officers. But the majority are not bad people. They're just not.
Guess what? That makes me frustrated and pissed off.
No, they're mostly good people who want to make a difference. You know, and yes, of course, we back the blue in this house for sure, but we don't back bad behavior in blue. We don't back any of that. And I am not disputing anybody's experience that maybe they had a bad experience with an officer. That is not what this is about.
So this is when Tragic Terry Lynn's audience, people start commenting, saying, maybe I'm going to bow out of this conversation. You know, we got 3 white ladies on panel talking about how great the po-po are and how there's just a couple, just a smidge who ruined the party for everybody else. So I don't think I'm going to stay here. This is a little offensive. You guys really don't know the experience of people of color. And then they start backtracking.
With 20 other good experiences, I don't think that it's fair to blanketly say all officers are bad because of one bad experience. I mean, there's bad cooks.
Despite some pushback in the live chat, the ladies just double down and keep going with this whole PR campaign for the police. They just want to tell you how great the police are. They seem to be more concerned with the perception of the police than the crimes being committed by officers who are supposed to protect us. Oof, interesting priorities, ladies.
And George, I can see your point on that as well. I see everybody's point. I do. I get it.
No, Tragic Terry Lynn, you most certainly have proven that you do, in fact, not get it. You need to educate yourself on your privilege and what's actually going on in the country and get your damn priorities straight if you want to speak on topics like this, and also if you want to judge and put labels on other people and throw them under the bus because of your own ignorance. It was your panel, your channel, you were in control, and you dropped the ball because you were ill-equipped to talk about this subject because you have chosen to be willfully ignorant. And they only went live about DV for 2 reasons. 1, because they were recently called out by other creators and Reddit for going against someone who was posting videos and exposing DV within this drama bottom feeder community, and 2, because people they don't like said stuff. Okay, so they were called out by someone named Muzzy Fuzzy. She once farted on a live stream and they won't let it go. I should have never pointed it out and given them that treat, but farts are funny. Muzzy Fuzzy allegedly tagged them in a YouTube community post saying that they should do videos about DV, educational ones, since they threatened to shut down, dox, and expose through a FOIA the YouTube account Kay's Camera, who was posting videos of DV that were being sent to her by an alleged DV victim who wanted the information out there. And they were mad. We can only believe they were mad because they weren't the ones who got to post the videos and they weren't making money off of it. So they were going to pull a FOIA on this person's Cash App or PayPal or something ridiculous. So again, going against what they claim to be for, which is pro-woman, allegedly, and anti-DV, allegedly. So this Muzz Fuzz character tagged them, and they were so pissed. How dare Muzz Fuzz? That's all they were saying through this live is, I'm not doing this because of Muzz Fuzz, and it's not because she tagged me. And then Tragic Lynn was like, huh? What? I didn't even see it. What'd she do? I had this live planned for 2 days.
Not tag me in your bullshit. Sorry to interrupt you. Muzz, don't tag me in your shit. Don't tag me in nothing. Please don't. And I want to make this very clear. This is not anything based on Muzz. Not anything based on Muzz. I was asked actually to do this. When did you ask me? Oh,
Is
gosh.
Muzz an officer? I don't even know who Muzz is.
I don't. Muzz is nothing. No, I don't even want to talk about that thing.
Now back to Tragic Terry Lynn's live, where she sat on a panel with 3 white women, and they pretended they didn't live in the United States of America and showed their privilege but didn't recognize it. And people on the chat were like, this is very insensitive for 3 white women to be up on a YouTube channel and saying how great the police were and how they had wonderful experiences with them and not recognize their own privilege or the fact that some of their supporters of color might find that offensive. No, no, no. They just kept doubling down on how great the cops were. And I think we can all agree in 2023, the police have a lot of problems going on. It's an institution that needs a lot of work. But these women were like, no, 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 don't say anything bad about it. And Tragic Lynn was telling everyone how she was Blue Lives Matter. But then, when they got called out for it online, and people within the chat, they saw that they might lose some supporters, some subscribers, some people who give them money, so they decided to throw Sweaty under the bus, even though Sweaty had been on Tragic Lynn and other channels many times talking about her family's problematic past, being involved in the KKK, and how she herself was not involved, and her dad was the only family member that basically did not go along with that and moved their family away from it. So instead of stating the facts that Sweaty said, they decided to just label her a racist. Now, we don't know what Sweaty said to them in private. But from what she said on these live streams, it seems that they are just throwing her under the bus. And again, Sweaty comes off as a very willfully ignorant, problematic white lady who just wants everyone to get along, but has no solutions for any of it and doesn't understand her own privilege. But very interesting that these women are on a hate campaign against their friend just so that they can't be called out for their ignorance on their own channels when speaking of the police. And these women calling Sweaty out should also remember that their Facebooks are public and open, and we can see that they have been posting that they back the blue and showing their privilege and willful ignorance toward the police problem in this country for a long time now. So maybe they should get off their soapboxes and realize they are just deflecting, and every single one of them needs to educate themselves. Oh look, it's Souplehead, aka Teresa, posting publicly on her Facebook for all to see, even if you're not her friend, that in 2020, mere months after the murder of George Floyd, she was back in the blue.
Okay, bitch. Stop trying to pin this on me.
In 2019, Teresa Souplehead Mims posted this. What does this mean, huh? Looks like you and Sweaty have more in common than you want to admit.
I didn't do shit to you, bitch.
And here's another post by Teresa aka Mims aka Souplehead saying she stands with Trump and that stricter gun laws aren't going to help anybody. Huh. They want to claim to be so progressive and kick out one of their friends, but it sounds like they're just like their friend they kicked out. And here is Mims aka Souplehead again publicly posting on Facebook, so passionate about this Blue Lives Matter stuff. Support the blue. Again, mere months, I believe this was July 2020, after the murder of George Floyd, that she was sharing and saying that she was going to participate in something where they would log off of Facebook to show their support. Yet when they're called out for their problematic and willfully ignorant conversation on the police by people in the chat and others on Reddit, they blame Sweaty. But it sounds like Mims, Teresa, Souplehead, feels this way and has felt this way for a long time. Despite wanting to throw other people under the bus for problematic racial views, racism, and bigotry, I looked at Mims' public Facebook page and her public Facebook posts, and she posted a lot about the police through the years and being Blue Lives Matter and we back the blue, but I didn't see any posts regarding the murders of Black Americans in the United States by the police. Why can't these hagwives of YouTube just be honest? They're all Blue Lives Matter. They all love the NRA. They don't want you taking a knee or touching the flag, and they all voted for Trump. Besides going back and forth with each other saying, you voted for Trump. Well, you did too. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. You don't know who I voted for. But here you can clearly see Tragic Lynn on her Facebook in her favorite Trump 2020 V-neck t-shirt. Why don't they just admit they all feel the same way as Sweaty does and be proud of it? And if they're not proud of it, why don't they admit it and then educate themselves instead of lying to their subscribers because they're too afraid to lose support and numbers, but most importantly, money. They're too afraid to lose the super chats. They're too afraid that if they tell you how they really feel, maybe you won't support them anymore. So instead, they just throw other people under the bus.
Paul and Maria actually were the ones that were in cahoots with the FBI, Jules, if you must know.
I knew I was at that point where I wanted to, I'm not even going, STRANGLED, her. She's a lot.
How do you just have a little bit of a temper?
I don't argue, I snatch.
Hey, you
I want a box.
I've been on it.
I want a box. I want to box. I do.
Sounds like we need to have some celebrity YouTube. Who does graphics? We can make them in cartoon characters so people don't even have to touch each other.
know, but
And we can make skits of creators boxing each other in the
No, I really
each
want a
other head
box.
off.
I don't want to make no damn skits. I want a box.
I'm full of it.
I want a box.
We ain't having no fight club up in here, okay?
Oh yeah,
It will be
Yeah,
Fight Club because
it'll
other
be-
people ain't gonna beat you.
Oh no, hell no! I want to box. I got a lot of boxing to get out.
Well, guys, let's see. I think this is probably the last stream I'm going to do until when I do another one.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.